back to Puff and Polish. Good to see you guys again. I know it's been a couple weeks now of no video. To kind of explain that a little bit in the fastest way that I possibly can, I've just had a lot of things go on recently in my life where I just haven't had the time to make a video. But I'm back making content on Instagram. Gonna be making content here now. I have decided that today's video is gonna be about moving out when I was 18, from that time to now. Pretty much like my experience and my tips for moving out at 18. I'm gonna take a dab real quick because when I moved out at 18, that's just a really long story. So I'm gonna take a dab real quick and then come back and start. So at 18, as soon as I turned 18, like hours after I turned 18, I moved out of my parents' place. I did it behind my parents' back. As my mom was working from home, I started packing my things in the morning and moved things out of my window to move out of my parents' house. I did not have anything planned. It was all on impulse. I moved out to be with who is now the father of my child. There was a lot of things to that I could have done differently. And I realize that now, as I'm 23 years old, living on my own, like I really could have waited to move out. But I was given an ultimatum at that time and really wanted to be with him and ended up just moving in with him. Tip number 1, please take your time with moving out. Yeah, I should have waited. 3 months after that, things didn't work out and I ended up having to move back out. And that was on and off until I got my own place. After living with him, my mental health had gotten worse. I should have seen signs. Ew, there's a spider. Anyways, I should have waited to move out, and that really was on me. Yeah, I don't really know how to talk about this. So living situation with him was basically on and off for the last 6-7 years. When I had found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I was living with my mother at the time. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I was living with my father at his place, and then I ended up going back and living with my baby daddy because I needed the help. If you are in need of help and in a very toxic situation, yeah, go move out. I have been in multiple toxic situations where I have just felt like I needed to just move out and just be away from my family. I did end up living in a trap house at some point. Let me take another dab before I start talking about the trap house. When I was, when was this? I think it was a year or so after graduation. I was either 18 or 19 living in a trap house with over 20 plus people. When I was living in the trap house with all these people, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I ended up staying there with one of my best friends for almost a year, I think. A lot of things happened there that I shouldn't have been around, shouldn't have seen, shouldn't have done. And I fully take accountability for all the things that I did do there. Me back then is a very different person than the me I am now. I did a lot of things in the trap house that I knew. I have always known right from wrong. I was in a really bad spot when living in the trap house, and I personally feel like I'm a very different person than I was when living there. If I'm going to be completely honest, I looked like a crackhead tweaker when I was living there. So as we can see, I don't necessarily look like that now. I was all pretty much just skin and bones. You were able to see my ribs. It was horrible, honestly. But I'm glad that I was able to get out of that. Not that I was pretty much forced out of that. We ended up getting evicted, but I'm glad that we were evicted, or I wouldn't have been able to, stop what I was doing. soon after moving out, I just learned that everybody there was not my friend. You know, they say that friends you're with in high school, they're probably not going to be there for you after graduation. I still have a couple friends from high school that I talk to. One that is still my best friend to this day. We hang out. We both have our kids hang out. Yeah, after that, there's a lot of fake people that were living under the same roof as me. After living in the trap house, I went back to living with my dad. Had no job, had to look for a job. Really had to get my shit together when I was living with my dad. My dad is very, I don't know how to put this. He's very, you know, you need to get a job, you need to be working, you need to be making money. I was 20 years old at the time. Yeah, you're right. Not 20, 19, I believe. I was 19 or 18. I don't even know. All the years are all mixed up. I was either 18 or 19 at the time. So yes, I should have been working. It did take me a while to get a job. I had an ex living with us. If you're really dating somebody, make sure before letting them move in or you move in with them, you know who you're moving in with. Let me take another dab real quick. So after living with my dad for a bit, I had moved in with the father of my child again. Lived with him for a bit. Moved back in with my dad months later when he had gotten a house. During that time, it was a lot for me. Living with my dad and my family again over there was a lot for me. Mentally, I don't know. I don't know what happened, like, mentally there. I really, sometimes I'm able to explain how I feel in a situation, but I'm just not able to explain, how I felt living with my dad and his family. I immediately started looking for places. I did have a job at this point. I was able to, get my own place. Although I didn't expect to get it so soon, I am glad that I did and was able to get a place that soon. Moving out of my dad's house was great. I was living on my own for a little bit. I was content with living on my own with my daughter. Did I like being alone at nights in a very weird area that I'm not familiar with, and sometimes my daughter wasn't even here? No, I did not like it, because the area that I live in I'm very unfamiliar with. I just know that it's I get very nervous with my car, my place, people knowing where I live. Yes, I have friends, but I only give people very limited people, maybe a handful of people, my address, because I don't want people that I'm not close with having my address. Living on my own for a bit, I loved it. I honestly wish I would have stayed living on my own, because I was doing better when I was living on my own. I was getting stuff together, I was getting my life figured out, which I really, really needed to do. A couple months later, or maybe a month later, I needed the help with rent. Me and the father of my child ended up living together. He ended up moving in with me. You guys are probably like, oh, you guys have lived together so many times, why didn't you just just stay together, Couldn't tell you. There's a lot of things that goes into this relationship between me and him. I am forever grateful for him, to have him help me in times of need, to still be around for our daughter. But yeah, he lived with me for a couple months. Not even a couple, it was almost half a year. And then things went sideways again. My mental health was getting worse. My mental health, it comes and goes in waves, which is very odd to me. One week I'll be fine, and then the next week I'm just dead. I'm not wanting to do anything. And I really don't know why I'm like that. Once he moved out, I was living on my own again for a little bit. I had a friend that was in the need of desperate help. She didn't want to live with her family. She had a couple things going on there too. I went out of my way to help this person, and I probably would do it again. Just knowing me and who I am, I don't think anybody should be living on the streets. I'm obviously not going to allow one of my friends to be living on the street. I had her staying with me for a bit. Then there was a third roommate, the one who just recently moved out. Let me take a dab for this one, because this is the one. My third roommate, she was in a very toxic situation with her parents, still is, but went back to living with them. And she, we were talking about all three of us living together. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's get a 3-bedroom because this place has an open 3-bedroom. Before this, I was living in a 2-bedroom with just me and my daughter. I was like, yeah, let me ask my landlord to see if the 3-bedroom is still available. And it was. We were able to move in here. I still am in the 3-bedroom currently right now. Things are great. And then she was not the person I really thought she was. And I feel bad that I put myself and my daughter in that situation. I was told by multiple people that I was gonna get fucked over, but I was naive and completely ignored everybody. Which is what I usually tend to do anyways. If people give me advice, I tend to ignore them and oh no, that's not gonna happen. What are you talking about? I know what I'm doing. Clearly, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what my, my life is based off impulsive decisions. Well, first moving in here, I went to the beach 3 times until 2 a.m., almost 3 a.m. with friends and with my roommate. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing a lot of the time. I just want to have fun. Anyways, didn't really know, but she definitely wasn't the person I thought she was. I moved my whole living situation, my daughter's living situation around to help her move out of her parents' place because they were so toxic, so controlling, and not even a month into you living here, you move out. You do me the dirtiest. I didn't have to go out of my way to get this 3-bedroom to help you. Moving out at 18, I would say, has been a very bumpy and chaotic ride. Now, I think from the age of 18 to now, my mental health has gotten worse and it's gotten better. I think mental health is a very serious thing. And I have had many friends pass just with the struggle of mental health or the struggle of, drugs. And I do sincerely hope that everybody that's watching this is in a very safe place. Yes, obviously I smoke. I don't do it just for fun. Smoking also really helps with my anxiety and my sleep. I am very thankful and grateful that I didn't resort to anything else in that trap house to try and help me, cope with a lot of things. I was offered, but I had always denied it. I didn't, because if I had gotten addicted onto something worse, I know I'd probably be dead right now. Tips for moving out. Again, do not feel pressured to move out at 18. It's okay to wait to move out. It's okay. You are not going to be missing anything if you don't move out. Really, you're 18, you're young. You have a roof over your head with mom and dad. It's okay to save up money, put money into your savings, make sure that you're financially stable, have that emergency saving money. I made the mistake of not having any of that before moving out, and I really should have had that. Tip number 2, if you're not moving out on your own and you're moving in with a roommate, to each their own, but I do highly recommend that you know who you're moving in with. But again, to each their own. Tip number 3, I also recommend buying certain things for your place before moving in. I also didn't do this, and I really should have bought certain things for myself before moving in. I still have a ton of things here that I just didn't need. I had a ton of clothes before this, and I've gone through my clothes I don't know how many times and just gotten rid of clothes. I could use some new clothes. Find some hobbies, find something to do, whether it's reading, playing video games, cleaning, or going on a walk or a hike or anything. Find something to do. If you're going to be living on your own, find hobbies, because you're going to get majorly depressed if you end up staying in your apartment and just sitting on your couch all day or sitting in bed all day. I'm thinking for other tips and whatnot, but I'm like drawing a blank. I really had things listed in my head to talk about today, and you know, they're just kind of leaving after every dab I take. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think I have anything else that I'm going to be talking about today. Unfortunately, everything has really kind of just left my brain. I want to apologize again for just not posting. I have been posting on my Instagram, but there will be another video posted next Sunday. Also, if you can hear the maintenance, I sincerely apologize. That's actually super annoying. I hope this kind of helped you guys understand a little bit more about me, and you know, will help you guys in the near future. If you're new here, you kind of just learned a lot about me in this first one. Well, not a lot, but my experience with jumping around from the age of 18 to 23. If you aren't new here, then I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys all next Sunday. Bye.